As you can see, the crypto market is in the green today, and there seems to be an Ethereum play here. You've got Arbitrum, Optimism, Ethereum all doing really well. But the real question here is the Bitcoin dominance. And as you can see that over the years of the crypto industry as a whole, ever since 2018, the Bitcoin dominance has been making higher lows. And so the real question here is this sustainable for the altcoin market? Can we continue to run, or is Bitcoin dominance going to continue to dominate over the years? Here to discuss with me is Patrick, also known as Crypto Rookies. How are you doing, Patrick?
Doing great.
So talk to me, because I know you're very bullish on Bitcoin, but you also spend a lot of times with meme coins, altcoins. You are heavily invested into the crypto sector. What do you make of this trend?
Yeah, so I think it's maybe 6 months or a year ago we talked about the capital rotation in the crypto market. Like typically it goes from Bitcoin, it goes to then Ethereum, then to large cap, mid cap, and like small cap, and it keeps rotating like this. And I postulated, like think back then, it's a while back, but that maybe it will be disrupted because of the ETF and the large institutional players getting into crypto because they cannot play the game of rotation. So if they buy Bitcoin for maybe the next 10, 20 years, like pension plans and state governments and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is happening. And yes, we've seen last cycle, the Bitcoin dominance go to 73%. Right now we're at like close to 61%. So we still have a way to go, but there's a lot more competition with altcoins and all kind of stuff like that. But meanwhile, I don't think there's as much liquidity flowing into them right now. So even though some of them do well, and like I said, we know that it's a meme coin super cycle right now, and like AI coin do well also, RWA and Deepen. But there's definitely narrative that are struggling right now. And I don't think it's going to go away necessarily because I think those large pension plan, like MicroStrategy just announced just like a few weeks ago that they are investing an extra $42 billion. They are raising $42 billion to buy more Bitcoin. That's a lot of money. Typically speaking, that might be equivalent to what was moving the altcoin market back in the days. So with more government adding maybe Bitcoin as treasury, maybe more pension plan doing it, they just won't move out of Bitcoin basically. So I don't think the dominance will stop running up right now because the only people who are selling out of their Bitcoin to move into altcoin are the people who are chasing after bigger pumps. So that could be some whales of previous cycle that are like crypto OGs and all that stuff. There's retail do it. Right now, retail is not really coming back that quickly because they're broke basically. So it's gonna take a bit of more time for them to come back. So it's really like a game of musical chair in the altcoin market, and we've seen it today. Bitcoin was going up, the dominance was going up heavily, and the altcoin market, I got crushed myself. Some of my position, I got liquidated on one of them. So it's a tough game, and if you get liquidated or get stop loss and you keep losing money periodically on your alts, at some point you may get tired and just stick to Bitcoin because it's performing pretty damn well. So I have some strategy that I'm using a margin account to basically buy Bitcoin on the spot, and I buy more Bitcoin with margins. So I'm basically replicating the MicroStrategy model that we discussed last week.
Yeah,
It's
and maybe we
performing.
can do a
Yeah.
refresher on that, Patrick. But before we go on, so there's a few things that I wanted to kind of push back on and kind of get your take on it. So first of all, with meme coins, I don't think that we've really learned anything from the last cycle. We still put money into meme coins. We understand the security risks. We understand that they can rug pull, and yet we still do it, right? So it's not that we're not aware. I think at this point it's just more of we understand the risks.
Yeah.
And last cycle, the whole reason why the cycle started, in my opinion, is because MicroStrategy started buying Bitcoin. And so you start on the institutional level when it comes to Bitcoin, and then it trickles down. So why do you think that this time around is is different because based on your message, it sounds like you agree with this chart and you think that trend will continue, that Bitcoin dominance will continue to go up. But you also did say that there's a lot more competition now, and now you have Solana, and you have companies that are putting Solana on their balance sheets,
Yeah.
and you also have potentially a Solana ETF now with this crypto deregulation in the United States. So when you think about those things, don't you think that eventually that dominance is going to come down?
It depends about the ETF. If a Solana ETF comes into play, maybe. But right now, the thing, if you're a pension plan and you're afraid of US the currency debasement, you go to Bitcoin because that's a store of value. And right now, there's only one store of value, as opposed to a tech play on crypto like Ethereum and Solana. There's many of them, and it used to be Ethereum doing like having most of the mind share, but Solana is like right now they are getting more volume than Ethereum overall, even though the price is much lower, like in terms of market cap. So if an ETF of Solana come to be accepted, and I think it will, that should give a decent boost. But right now, the company that are putting Solana on their balance sheet, like it's in the millions of dollars. It's not in the billions of dollars. And I think MicroStrategy, 42 billion. If the US government had Bitcoin as a reserve currency and they want to buy 5% of the supply, how many, like, is that more than $100 billion that they put into Bitcoin? Yes. Maybe more because the price of it will increase over time. The minute they announce they are doing it, the price will start to run and other government will do the same. So, I think we may see even if potentially $1 trillion moving into Bitcoin. I don't think the same will apply to Solana ETF or Ethereum ETF as much because it's not. Some company will do it, like, but I don't think government will do it as some sort of reserve currency. And I think will it happen this cycle or not? That's the question. If it happened this cycle, it may not. Typically speaking, we would like believe that the crypto bear market will come back maybe about a year from now. But if the U.S. government want to put Bitcoin as a reserve currency, where it's going to add many more years to the bull cycle. And I don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
to also support your message, I mean, also you have at the time of this recording, Michael Saylor talking to Microsoft. So he's out there trying
Yeah.
to tell companies to put Bitcoin on the balance sheets. We're talking about countries potentially printing money in order to buy Bitcoin. So you might have a global race for who can accumulate the most Bitcoin. So I definitely understand that side of things. But eventually, we're going to have an altcoin season. It may not be as prevalent, right? I think the Bitcoin dominance may not go as low as in the previous cycles, and so maybe that's just the trend that we have to be aware of. And
Yeah.
moving forward, just understand that the altcoins are almost a temporary solution to the ultimate goal, which is to accumulate more Bitcoin.
Yeah. But I think it's a question of how deep the retail users, how deep their pocket is, because all the previous cycles, it was retail and leverage that was making those big pumps. Now we have an entirely new player that is those pension plan, those government that are moving into this, and they have much deeper pocket. That's the thing that to me I struggle with is that like just today I got liquidated on a PopCat trade. That's not fun. I lost a few $1,000 again. Do I keep trying to bang my head on get chasing those pumps? I know that when it works out, I can make 1,000% pretty quickly, but it's really annoying when it happens. How many times will it happen before I decide to say screw it and I'm just sticking to Bitcoin and I'm using a margin account to do a few 100% a year?
But then who is using Raydium? Because as of yesterday,
Yeah.
Raydium fees surpassed Tether. So if it's not institutions, then who is using Raydium?
The thing retail are using it, but they are playing with a lot smaller amount of cash. I'm saying as you pour a lot of money, like let's say $1 trillion into Bitcoin, some people will cash out of Bitcoin to put into the altcoin market. So I'm not saying there won't be a pump, but at some point, if you keep chasing and then getting screwed here and there, and then you see that Bitcoin keep going up, at some point you'll FOMO back to Bitcoin. That's what I'm thinking that could starve the market. Today, that's what happened when we saw the altcoin market go down. It was basically Bitcoin going up and starving the liquidity out of the altcoin market. So because
So the altcoin market is one thing. I agree with you. The altcoin market in general has been struggling, aside from a few exceptions like Sui, Near. There's a few exceptions there, but when you look at meme coins, that's different. They haven't been struggling. Like you said, we're in a meme super cycle, and now we have this new thing with AI memes. So, I mean, do you fight the trend, and when everybody else is looking in one direction, you look in the other, or do you just accept the fact that people are thinking, okay, this cycle is going to be about Bitcoin and meme coins and AI, and that's it?
yeah, I play both sides of the fence, but right now one of my most successful strategy is I buy Bitcoin and I use a margin account to trade the meme coin with it. So I use the Bitcoin as collateral. But whenever I cash out some profit on the meme coin, I add to my Bitcoin account basically. So I keep adding more Bitcoin. And I
What
think
is the
that's
overall risk with doing that strategy?
I'm not so risky on the Bitcoin going down that much, but if the meme coin get crushed really badly, then yeah, I could suffer there. But I think that's why today I got liquidated is because I was using an account that was not using that strategy. It was pure meme coin. So I think when those fluctuation happen, like the thing it was on PopCat, it went from 1.9 down to 1.34 like in a matter of just a few days. It it's like the volatility is really bad because people keep playing a musical chair. So that's
I just don't
the problem.
understand if we're in the meme super cycle and the retail is not here and people in the industry are saying how meme coins are not good for the industry, then who's actually in these meme coins?
Yeah, I mean the thing there's some retail, but it's the people who have been in crypto for quite a while. Like the people who came late last cycle and got crushed, they are not back. If you look at the YouTube views on various crypto channel, it's nowhere near what it used to be. Like there's a bit of people who are coming back, but it's not equivalent to what it was at the last cycle when there was a lot of COVID stimulus. We're just not there yet. But
But you
there's
also
still
have
definitely
listings
people playing
now. Don't forget, Patrick, you have listings now. You have Robinhood that is listing a lot more meme coins. They listed Pepe.
it.
Coinbase is listing Floki, I believe. I never thought I'd see the day,
Yeah, yeah,
as well as Pepe, I believe. So
yeah.
you have a lot more exchanges and big exchanges that are very close to the retail that are listing these meme coins. And so how does that not bode well for the overall industry in terms of getting more retail involved?
But eventually they might come back. But there's a difference between 10 million people putting $1,000 versus a bunch of pension plan adding an extra $200 billion. We're not talking about the same pocket size essentially. And that's the thing is that some people who have had Bitcoin for a while cash out of Bitcoin as the price go up to go chase those higher return on the meme coin. So to me, that's what is fueling the meme coin super cycle for the most part right now. But to say that a lot of the retail is back, not yet. They might come, but even if they come, they are not playing with the same size of budget that the institutional players are playing with. So that's why and the thing, if you keep playing the musical chair, you chase those meme coin that do a 10x within a month. They do happen, and people get rich definitely out of it. That's why I'm still doing it. But like at some point, you make a bad decision and you end up buying when the meme coin is going down because it's a PvP game where it's player versus player. It's not the entire market that is growing at the same speed. There's some sort of rotation between those meme coins. So people right now are chasing the meme coins that are likely to be listed on Coinbase and on Robinhood and all those things. So
Well,
the thing, it works, but it's still very risky compared to just sticking to Bitcoin.
well, the liquidity of the market is increasing from what I saw. I mean, we just surpassed 3 trillion, which is the all-time high last bull run. So I feel like there's more liquidity coming into the market. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's more, but as I said, it's getting concentrated into Bitcoin, a lot of it. And the thing, some of it is flowing, and so you don't need $50 billion to move the price of Doge or like Bobcat or WIF or those meme coins. You need much less to have an influence on the price. So the pump are pretty strong, but it's a game of musical chair. It's much more risky overall than sticking to just Bitcoin. And I think if we keep getting like a 20% return on Bitcoin every month, do you want to risk it to lose everything on some meme coin or not? At some point, some people who are like that retail who don't know what they're doing, they might get caught a few times with their pants down on the playing with the meme coin, and at some point they may just, oh, screw it, I'm gonna just stick to Bitcoin when they see side by side that coin just keep going up. It's like at some point I'm afraid it may starve the rest of the market.
What do you think about playing the Bitcoin narrative in terms of Bitcoin DeFi or Bitcoin memes? So you have runes, you have
Yeah.
ordinals. What are your thoughts on hedging, against that? Leveraging, I should say.
Yeah, right now I'm not really touching that area, but yeah, some of them do well, definitely. It's worth looking into if you're deep in crypto, but if you're relatively new to crypto, maybe I would just stick to Bitcoin, to be honest.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, we did go over the micro strategy. So we'll have a link to that video in the
Yeah,
description as well.
but one thing I would add, typically speaking, if you look at the cycle of previous year, it should be around January that the altcoin market and the dominance start to slow down. So if it doesn't happen, then we'll know that maybe we're not done yet. And I think maybe it's just that the altcoin pump, as a big chunk, will come maybe in 6 months from now. Maybe this market is much bigger and longer than the previous cycle. That's also a possibility.
I feel like history does not necessarily repeat, but it tends to rhyme. So
Yeah.
personally, I think that there's always a chance that Bitcoin would do exactly the same thing it did last time, where it might temporarily peak in April or May, take a dip, and then come back for the end of the year. And that's
Yeah.
when the altcoin market will be at its all-time high. But this is all speculation. None of this, of course, is financial advice. But for those that are watching, if you enjoyed our conversation, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tune in to Patrick's other video where we discussed the strategy and how we go over where Michael Saylor, what he's been doing in terms of accumulating Bitcoin. Thanks so much for tuning in.